Hey, welcome to Coffee Chat. I'm a few minutes early. Thank goodness. That is always my goal. Early is on time is late. Y'all know how I feel about that. So, having said that, if I'm ever late, please know that it's something absolutely unavoidable. Let's see, I'm about 4 or 5 minutes early. So, I'm going to give everybody time to get here. And hopefully, I will remember to trim the first 5 minutes off of this before I post it. If you're watching after the live, go ahead and you can just skip 5 minutes ahead if you want. Let me make sure we've got sound and everything going here. Give me just a second. Let's see. That if I make sure. Okay. Morning, Megan. How are you doing? Good to see you. Morning, Carol. Morning, Matt. How are you? Good to see you here. Morning, Scott. I love seeing all the brothers here. Y'all are just such an encouragement to me. It's been so exciting seeing all the brothers speak up, join in, offer amazing insight. I really appreciate the balance, the better balance that we have this year, thanks to that. So, thank y'all so much personally. Oh my goodness, we've got a lot of people. Hey, everybody, how y'all doing? I'm so excited you're here today because this is a very important message, especially if this is your first time reading with us. So, if you have to leave in the middle of this video, please come back and watch the whole thing later. It's really important. A lot of people have asked me why these are so early and it's too early for me and all this stuff. It is 6 a.m. in my time zone. I'm in the central time zone. I'm in North Alabama. And it's early for me too, y'all. This is not my preference. Now I get up, I'm up by 4 every day, but I don't get up and go get ready and everything. I get up and I read my Bible and I sip my coffee and I have a good time. I like a nice slow morning with the Father. But my husband is now working from home again. The current state of events, he's working from home again for his company. And so I retired a year and a half ago. His salary is how we pay for all this. And we are sharing this space. So I have to come up here at 6 because he usually starts work at 7, or actually, he usually starts at 6, but he's going to start late for me today. And I have to set everything back up. I've got all these lights and all this stuff. And then when I'm done, I take everything and I put it over out of the way so it becomes an office again. But I was thinking about this yesterday and I realized that actually this is the Father's intent. I really believe this is the Father's intent because there's a lot of people who are able to listen to this since I do it at 6 in the morning. And they're able to listen to it live, and they would not be able to if I were doing it at 7. They'd be walking out the door, or 8, they'd already be gone. So that's important. Of course, anytime I do a live video, it is going to be available to watch after the fact. Morning, everybody. Hey, Michelle. Michelle said, hugs to my puppy, Honey. I have this crazy dog, Honey, and Michelle's a precious person. She leads our prayer team. She is one of the most vigilant prayer warriors I've ever known. And we kind of have this running joke. She always talks about how sweet and precious her puppy Honey is. I keep threatening to send Honey to her. And she knows Honey's our wildest dog. Morning, everybody. Good to see all of y'all. Okay, how are we on time? We are 1 minute away, so I think I can go ahead and start. And I don't think I wasted enough time that I need to trim this at the beginning. So we will just let that rest. All right, so I have a couple of housekeeping things first. I do have notes I'll be referencing. I prefer not to reference notes, but I get up in the morning and I have a list of what I want to talk to you about, and every morning without fail, it feels like I wake up and the Father just starts downloading information to my brain of other things I need to discuss. And so I have to write notes to stay on point. So remember, this is Friday. And so this afternoon around 3 o'clock Central Time, everything that I talk about is in Central Time Zone. So just think, see, Christy time. I hate time zones and I love you, but I'm not going to do math for you unless it's biblically mandated. So this afternoon around 3 o'clock, I will post the weekend readings for the entire weekend, and we will turn comments off in the group. Just a reminder, they will come back on Monday morning at 4 a.m. or 3:55 actually, if you want to be technical, when I post Monday's post. You're welcome to discuss the weekend readings on Monday's post. That's totally fine. You've also seen that we turn off comments from the previous day's post. I do that about 3:54 in the morning. I turn off comments from the previous day's post. 3:55, the new post is posted and the comment thread is open there. You can discuss any of the readings if you want on that thread. However, if you want engagements and answers to your questions and stuff, reading along with the group is really the best way to do that, because if you have a question about something last week, the group's already a week ahead and we discussed all that last week on that thread. So if you can, read along with the group. That's the reason why we turned comments off on the previous threads, because we were having people, they would be like a week behind, so they would comment questions on the thread that they were on and nobody would answer because the entire group had moved ahead, and it made them feel like, oh, everybody's just ignoring me, and I didn't want that. So it works better this way. But I also, now's the time. We're past the first week, so you're going to hear me say this one thing over and over. If you are behind, do not try to catch up. It is a trap. Dive in where we are right now, okay? Because if you're already short on time enough to get behind, telling yourself that you're going to come up with time to make that up, then additional time to get to where we are, it's not going to work, and you're going to get more and more behind. Guilt is going to lay upon guilt, and you will eventually fall away from the reading plan entirely. So I want to encourage you, no guilt, show yourself grace, dive right back in where we are right now, okay? The goal was never to be to read the Bible one time. The goal is to become a daily Bible reader. Whatever you miss this go round, you'll catch the next go round. Dive in where we are. Do not try to get caught up. It is a trap. Please trust me on this. I've done this for years now. Please trust me. Also, there was, a lot of people have been asking about all the t-shirts and stuff that people are talking about in the comments. People showed, this one's my favorite, Wide Path Dropout. And I'm actually going to be talking about one today. This is my husband's. This is another one I designed today that I'm going to be talking about, Truth Over Tradition. I do have, if you go to seekingscripture.com, that's the website where all these notes are, look up at the top, and on the right hand side you'll see Shirt Shop. This is something I design a whole bunch of shirts mainly because I want to have them to wear. And you can go there and see all the shirts I've designed and a link to go purchase them. They're all on Amazon. It's better if you go to seekingscripture.com and click my link to go, because every time I upload a design, it's immediately copied and counterfeited. And so there's other people selling my designs, so it's easier if you do it that way. I make $2 for each shirt. I want you to know that I'm not making money on this. We go into a deficit every month. That is by plan. We spend a good bit on the website and the podcast and all the other things that we have, and we are grateful to do that. So, but I just don't want you to think that I'm profiting off of you. Any money that we make on that, we just put towards the other stuff. But we're always in a deficit, and that is a blessing to us, because, anything that we have, it's the Father's. So we're grateful that He allows us money for groceries and a mortgage and all these things. He tells us what to do with the money. And so this is one of the ways. It's all His, though. We used to think that we were these great people if we gave Him 10% of our income. And then we realized that all of our income is His. And we think it's great that He lets us use some of that for us. So we kind of have a different way of looking at that now. Okay, I want to, and we're going to chat more at the end of this. I try to kind of get through my notes and my main talking points so that the people that have to leave can leave. They still got the bulk of it. And so that people watching later don't have to watch the whole video. The shorter the video, the more people will watch it. And that's just, we all understand that. Okay, I'm finishing up my housekeeping stuff here. A couple of things coming up. I want you to know that everybody's asking great questions. And I love that we're really starting to wrap our head around this and immerse ourselves in the world and in the Word, and try to kind of see what's going on and try to put the pieces together in our head. But you need to know that some answers that you want are simply not given. And if an answer is not in the Bible, we can talk about it and discuss possibilities. But just remember, that's just conjecture, speculation. Many studies that you go through, if an answer is not in the Bible, they will research it and come up with the answer that they think is the most plausible and present it as if it were truth. And we really try not to do that. Our main goal, and I know you've seen it several times in the group probably, is keep reading. You're going to hear that a lot. You're going to hear that from group members. You're going to hear it from the admin team. Keep reading. But if you do have a question and it's not answered in the text, and nobody gives you a firm answer, it's because we don't have a firm answer. We have to learn to be comfortable with the questions themselves. And it's very important to realize that the Father has answers that he wants to give you. And I've noticed that every time I read through the Word, he's given me a different set of answers. He's given me a deeper understanding. He's given me answers to different questions, is what I mean, not a different set of answers. So it's more important to focus on what the Father is trying to teach you rather than what you want to learn. So it's okay to ask questions, but I just want you to know, don't get frustrated if you ask a question, if the answer's not in the text and nobody gives you a firm answer, because we don't know. But this is a good idea. Keep you a little notebook, and these questions you have, write them down in the notebook and just kind of keep track of them, and you can kind of gather evidence and puzzle pieces as you go along. And eventually you will find yourself living your way to all the answers that you need to know. So, one of my favorite quotes, and I talk about it all the time, there's this book that I love. When I started reading it when I was in, I think, middle school. It's called Letters to a Young Poet. And it's about this poet's actual letters that he wrote to a younger poet who was asking him questions about life and stuff. And he said, you must learn to love the questions themselves, like locked rooms or hidden doors of which you don't have the key, because you couldn't understand it now. I'm paraphrasing, of course. But someday you will find yourself having lived your way to the answers. So learn to love the questions themselves. This is, of course, all bringing us closer to the Father. We are seeking him, and we're seeking to deepen our understanding of him. And that's a wonderful thing. On that same note, I have a big issue with, I try not to ever have pet peeves. I think if you have a pet peeve, something that personally bothers you, you just need to get over it. I don't like having pet peeves, and I especially don't like making other people bow to a pet peeve that I have. Having said that, I'm fixing to tell you a pet peeve. So we're just going to be honest here. Because I haven't seen it in this group, and I'm really excited about that I haven't seen it in this group. Each year, the group is so different. Let me make sure everything's okay. I haven't checked my comments at all. Okay. Each year the group is so different, and the community continues to form and grow and evolve. And one year the new group may be struggling with something. One year the new group may just be like, oh, we got that. That makes perfect sense. And they just, there's different struggles and stuff for each group. The thing I love about this group, we as humans are prone to grumbling. Y'all gonna read a lot about grumbling when we get to Exodus, because the Israelites, those were our chief grumbling ancestors. But make no mistake, we ain't no better than them. If anything, we way worse. So usually I see a lot of complaining about the books of the Bible coming up, or we get to certain books and I dread this book, I hate this book, I really don't want to read this book, I know this book is boring, all this stuff. I have not seen that in this group, and I'm so grateful. So this is my disclaimer about that, hopefully to head it off at the pass, because it's probably coming. I don't want to hear anybody talking about dreading books of the Bible. Okay? The world has taught you to do that. The world has taught you to do that. This is our Father. This is his word. This is our Father who loves us, who created us, and we should be excited for every single word he wants to speak to us. We are soaking every bit of this up. I promise you, if it hadn't have been important, it wouldn't have been in here. So when the Father says something, think about it. If you were sitting at home and suddenly the ceiling came open, a bright cloud came in, and the voice of God audibly came down your living room, would you be like, oh, not him again? No, you would be awestruck. You would just stop in your tracks, goosebumps, soaking in every single word. That's what his word is. So don't be talking about dreading the upcoming books, because he has a gift in each one. He has many gifts, countless gifts in each one that he wants to give us. We have to stop allowing ourselves to be influenced by the world and become grateful for the gift that his word is to us. And I know some of you feel like you've been thrown in the middle of the pond this year and you're just swimming the best way you can. That's okay. You do not have to learn everything the first go around. Every time we read through the Bible, we'll learn something new. Every time. And it's a cycle. The Father teaches in layers. If you ever noticed in school, they teach basically like the same principles in kindergarten. Then on first grade, they teach those principles again, but it's a little more involved, a little more in depth. Second grade, same thing. And they're still teaching the same principles. They're just going deeper each time. It's the same way with the Father. He teaches in layers. So we're laying the foundation layer. If this is your first year reading through with us, we're going to continue to build layers on that. You will never stop learning from His Word. You will never stop learning from His Word. It is absolutely impossible. Donna says, I want to know Him so well that He seeps out of my pores. Amen. Okay, see, that's a good point. She said that's a good way to look at it because just today I was reading something and I thought, I dread this part. But looking at it as in God is speaking to us, that's a totally different thing now. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. So now we're going to get into the main thing. It's story time with Christy. So I want to talk about Joshua, and we haven't got to that part yet. And I'm not trying to get you to read ahead or anything, but I do want to tell this story because it's a very key principle that we need to get ingrained today, right now, this morning. Okay? You cannot let the day pass by without getting this in your head. So the Israelites have been wandering the desert for 40 years. And when you read that, you actually see that the original people who had left, the original generation who had left Egypt, they had even died. And so these are their kids and their grandkids. They've been wandering around for 40 years. Moses, who was initially their leader, had already passed away. Before he passed away, he read them and he reminded them of every single thing that the Father had delivered them from, everything they had gone through. I mean, it's in the book of Deuteronomy, which is my absolute favorite book in the Bible. And I will tell you, a lot of y'all are going to find that it's your favorite book as well. So you're my homies. So he had led them for 40 years. Moses has passed away, and Joshua has been appointed to take Moses' place. Interesting fact here: Joshua, his name is transliterated Joshua. He had the same name as our Messiah. So, anyway, the original Hebrew name. So Joshua was Moses' student. He had been his right-hand man. He had helped him with all these books. He had been learning from him. Moses knew he was going to be a successor. So he had been, you can imagine the training, the intense training he had put him through, because these people were personal to Moses. You know, he was tasked with shepherding this flock. And so Joshua had to be the one to take it over. It was a very weighty matter for both of them. Joshua had seen, you know, the cloud by day, the fire by night. So imagine how close he was to the Father. And they're getting ready, after 40 years of wandering in the desert, they're getting ready to cross over into the promised land. Okay? So Joshua gathers all the people, all the tribes together, and we're going to learn about the different tribe structures and things later on as well. And he says, okay, he's not telling them his words because the Father told him what to tell these people. The text tells us, the Father says, here's what I want you to speak to the people. Here's what I want you to say before they pass over. And so he says, thus says the Lord your God. And he starts telling them all these things. He does the exact same thing Moses does. He recounts everything that had happened in the desert, how the Father had led them, you know, reminding them. We have to always remind ourselves what the Father's done for us. We need to be telling the stories to our children. We need to be telling the stories of our spiritual ancestors and the stories from our own life, the stories from our parents' life. We have to tell the things that the Father has done in our lives. Don't ever be silent about that stuff. Have it on repeat all the time, all the time. I'm bad about, well, I guess it's bad, but if I'm in the kitchen doing something, like especially when the kids were little and stuff, if I was in the kitchen making a recipe, making a dish, and one of my kids walked in and they started talking to me, I would listen to them. And then when it was my turn to talk, I'd say, you know, I'm making these tea cakes. Your great grandmother, Mama Reed, used to make these tea cakes, and this came from her. And she had 10 children, and she cooked these big meals every morning, every day at lunch, and every day at supper. And she fed all these people, and she was known for her cooking and her good heart. And I would just start telling all the story about the person whose recipe I was making, because that's the story of their heritage. And we do that now with the Bible, with the Word. You know, the Father has done this and this for us, and we remember when He took, you know, we do all that now too. And we've got to honor Him in that way. Why do we do that? Because we're prone to forget. We are horribly prone to forget. I mean, y'all, the Father, you'll read about it in Exodus. The Father can part the sea for us, and we're going to spend 2 days praising and dancing, telling everybody about it. Then on day 3, we're going to start grumbling about something else again. Is He even real? Does He love us? This is what we do. So I want you to make sure, as we're reading through the Bible, please don't read it as if it were irrelevant to us or as if it's talking to someone else. This is us. This was given to us for a reason. Now, I want to read some from Joshua 24. This is what Joshua tells the people, okay? After he gets done telling them this whole narrative, he says, "Now, therefore, fear Yahweh and serve him in sincerity and in faithfulness." Sincere and faithful. "Put away the gods that your fathers served beyond the river and in Egypt, and serve Yahweh. And if it is evil in your eyes to serve Yahweh, then choose this day who you'll serve, whether the gods your fathers served in the regions beyond the river, or the gods of the Amorites in the land in whose land you dwell. But as for me and my house, we will serve Yahweh." Then the people answered, "Far be it from us that we should forsake Yahweh to serve other gods. For it is Yahweh our God who brought us and our fathers up from the land of Egypt, out of the house of slavery, and who did great signs in our sight, and preserved us in all the way that we went, and among all the peoples through whom we passed. And Yahweh drove out before us all peoples, and the Amorites who lived in the land. Therefore also we will serve Yahweh, for he is our God." Joshua knows better. Joshua knows better. He says, if you forsake Yahweh and serve foreign gods, then he'll turn and do you harm and consume you. These are his people. I mean, imagine like you're married to someone, you love them dearly. They decide to have a relationship with other people. Imagine how hurt that is, okay? So these are the Father's people. He will consume you after having done you good. And the people said to Joshua, "No, but we will serve Yahweh." Then Joshua said to the people, "You're witnesses against yourself that you have chosen Yahweh to serve him." And they said, "We are witnesses." And he said, "Put away the foreign gods that are among you, and incline your heart to Yahweh, the God of Israel." And the people said to Joshua, "Yahweh our God we will serve, and his voice we will obey." So this is what we're going to talk about today, friends. Yahweh we will serve, and his voice we will obey. We are riding high right now in this Bible study. I have seen so many people post about, "Wow, I didn't know the Bible said this. I was taught it said this, and then I'm reading this, and this is entirely different from what I was taught." And people are so excited to be developing that first-hand relationship. They're realizing that a lot of what we have been taught were fableized versions of the Bible. And then when you actually read the Bible, it's an entirely different thing. So we have seen firsthand that there is sometimes a tremendous gap between truth and tradition, between the religious knowledge that we have inherited versus what the Bible actually says. That's what that verse is about, truth over tradition, that shirt. And we're seeing this. But right now it's easy. Right now it's easy. It's so exciting. It's easy to say, well, there wasn't 2 of every animal. There's 14 of some of them. You need to know that a time is coming in which you're going to have to face things that make you uncomfortable, that will cause you to be a peculiar people. And so you need to choose today what you're going to cling to. Are you going to cling to the word of Yahweh or the world's version of Yahweh? Now, we're supposed to be testing everything. I hope none of y'all taking, I gotta get rid of the Alabama in me today. I'm talking a little too Alabama, sorry. I hope none of y'all are just taking my word for it. You need to be reading the word. You need to be testing everything. His word is truth. All else is commentary. Okay? You're just reading my notes, things I researched, things that were interesting to me. You need to be digging deeper on your own as well. We're taking fishing lessons in here, y'all. That's the whole point of this. So we're supposed to be testing the word. But I want to warn you that when you come to the parts that cause you to step out of your comfort zone, that same place that you receive knowledge that has proven false in reading the word, you're going to be tempted to go back and be like, well, this knowledge doesn't test true to the word. And so I've decided to cling to the word on this. But I don't really like what the word says about this. I prefer this point of view. So I'm going to discard the word here and cling to this point of view. You're going to want to go back to trusting worldly sources and human sources over the Father again. Because at the end of the day, and this is a tough one, I have to face this every day. I have to ask myself this every day. We say we're willing to die for Messiah. But in practice, most of the time we're not even willing to be inconvenienced for him. So when you come to that point and the record skips, and you're like, oh, I love this. I love reading the truth. Wait a minute, what? God said what? He wants me to what? You're going to start backpedaling real quick. And I want you to prepare your hearts for that. I want to encourage you that when you come to a part in the Word where the Father says jump, there's two ways you can answer that. Yes, Father, or how high? Two ways. Please don't say maybe next year. So if you're coming to something that you struggle with in the Word, because I see all of us are struggling with different things. And a lot of times, depending on what's going on in our lives, our past experiences, our past hurts and trials, we see things in the Word that just really hurt our hearts. And it causes us a lot of confusion. And we're trying to figure out, is God ordaining this? Does he allow this? First of all, I need you to know that just because you see something in the Bible does not mean the Father approves of it. Does not mean he sanctions it. This is why it's important to know his word so that we can separate, we can see. A lot of these examples in the Bible are showing us what not to do. But if we don't know what the Father says to do and how he says to live and his commandments and how they teach us to go, we won't recognize that. And so a lot of people open the Bible and their takeaway is, well, God's okay with this. Most of the examples in the Bible are things he's not okay with. A lot of that's going on are things he's not okay with, but we have to know the word to know it. So if you come to something that you're struggling with, remember, like we talked about yesterday, keep struggling. Wrestle it out with the Father. He can take it. Be honest with him. And most importantly, keep reading. This is an entire story. This is a whole story. We're 2 weeks in, y'all. We got 50 weeks left. There are 66 books in the Bible. We're in the middle of one right now. 65 more books left. Okay. So we're going to get through all of this. We're going to build our foundation. Then we've got the entire New Testament, which is just people teaching us how to walk out what we're learning now. That's what it is. Think about this. And I know I've said this before, but some of you may have missed it or may not have fully processed it because it's something I'm constantly processing. It takes a while. At the time the New Testament was written, the New Testament didn't exist then. At the time these people were living this out, the New Testament didn't exist then. The New Testament did not exist in Messiah's time, during Paul's time. So what were they teaching from? What were they reading? What were they studying? What were they living by? The part of the Bible that we're reading right now, which by no coincidence is the part of the Bible that we tend to pay the least bit of attention to and discard in our time, which explains a lot about our time, So keep reading. Keep reading. He gave you life. Afford him the dignity of 1 year of yours to read his word, to read the instruction manual for how we're to live. And I also want you to remember Malachi 3:6. I am God, I do not change. Now, sometimes that can feel a little ominous, but the more you get to know him, the more steadfast and sure that feels. He is God, he does not change. So many of us at many times in our lives, I have been, we're blowing about in the wind like a flag that's not attached to a pole. He's our foundation, and we're getting our sure footing in him. So I want to encourage you to hold loosely to the world and hold tightly to the Father. His word is truth and all else is commentary. So why did Joshua tell those people, why did he make that statement before they crossed over into the promised land? Because you put your armor on before you go into battle. What would happen if you waited till you were in the middle of a battle and then you decided that you needed to pick up your shield, pick up your sword, and put your armor on? You're going to get annihilated, okay? You put your armor on before you go into battle. So this is me telling you, put your armor on now. Do not wait. Today, I want you to write down that verse. And I have written, sometimes I want you to go to BibleHub.com and look up Joshua 24:15 today. Read through the different translations in the parallel version. You'll see it. When you type it in, it comes up with all the different versions. What I do is I go through and I pick the version that I think the audience I'm speaking to will understand the easiest, will convey that to the easiest to my particular audience. So in this instance, I use the CEV version, Common English Version, or maybe it's Christian English Version, whatever. Y'all got me. But if you don't want to worship Yahweh, then choose here and now. Will you worship the same idols your ancestors did? Or, since you're living on a land that once belonged to the Amorites, maybe you'll worship their gods. I won't. My family and I are going to worship and obey Yahweh. I want you to write this down today, but then I want you to do something else, okay? I want you to write this. I choose to worship and obey Yahweh. I want you to sign it, and I want you to put a date on it. Remember this day. And when you come to these parts in the Word that are hard for you, to these things that you don't understand, that challenge your heart, that challenge your mind, you remember. You made this commitment. You remember this day. Joshua said, choose this day. You cannot put your armor on when you're in the middle of battle. It will not work. Put it on today. Choose this day. If you're wrestling with something, He's your God. Wrestle it out with Him. And keep reading. Afford Him the dignity of 1 year of your life. And I promise it will change your entire life. And if you're still wrestling with something and you just can't get past it, it's okay. Keep reading. He has more He wants to show you, and this is a complete story. The Bible does not begin and end in Genesis. It does not begin and end in Exodus. The Bible certainly does not begin and end in Matthew. And I love Matthew. I'm in the middle of writing a deeper Bible study on Matthew right now. The Bible begins in Genesis. The Bible we currently have before us is 66 books, and that tells an entire story. So please keep reading. Don't watch the first few minutes of a movie and decide it's not for you. Okay? Keep reading. It is not always going to be as easy as it is today. So I want you to set your heart to that. Strengthen yourselves. Because following the example of our Messiah, which He's the perfect example of how to walk this out, okay? Following the example of our Messiah doesn't look like blending in with the rest of the world. When He calls us peculiar people, being loved, you can't be loved by the world and loved by the Father. If you're loved by the world, you're an enemy of the Father. Now that's in the Word as well. You have set yourself up as an enemy of the Father. He will always love us. But think about the parent who has the child who has chosen a life that is destroying them. And they love that child so much. And their heart grieves and aches. Because no matter what they do or say, that child continues to choose that life that's destroying them. And that's what the Father's calling us to do. But we have to trust Him, and He's going to call us. You know, it's not just about trusting Him with the big things. It's about trusting Him with the little things. Will you trust in Him? You have to choose today. And you have to trust in Him when it doesn't make sense to you. Because it's not about the Father making it make sense to us. He says, if we demand that He make everything make sense before we'll obey it, that's not trusting in Him. That's a tough one. He tells us not to lean on our own understanding, but to lean on to His. I will tell you that once you step out in faith and you really do trust in Him, you will over time see, oh my goodness, I see His wisdom in that. Oh my goodness, I see His wisdom in that. Oh wow, now I see, but you have to take that step out in faith before you're going to see it. But His wisdom, His word will always prove true. I can assure you that it will absolutely always prove true. You cannot half-heartedly serve a wholehearted God. We're going to talk about wholehearted a lot because the Father mentions it over and over and over and over in His Word. He is in the process, always, you'll see this pattern through the Bible of Him dividing and separating. Dividing and separating. And when you choose to follow Him, there's going to be some separation. And you're not going to look like all the people around you. You're not going to live your life like all the people around you. I think you should just live out the example and be a light and love people. But it's not going to be easy. You're going to be weird. Embrace the weirdness. Okay? So that is my message for the day. I've only gone 30 minutes. Now I will go through the comments and see what everybody's saying here. I also want y'all to know that as I go through your comments each day, and I know this is gonna sound menacing at the start, but here we are. I'm writing down names. I have a prayer list, and I'm writing down a lot of people's names in the group, just to personally pray that the Father strengthen you for the year ahead. And so we have a big prayer team. I'm not near the prayer warrior Michelle Harris is. That's her callings, but she leads a team too. And know that you're being prayed for to be strengthened. Know that everyone here loves you exactly where you are. And our only hope is to encourage you so that you can grow closer to the Father, so that you will continue in His Word. Because in doing that, He will lead you. So our goal is to just help you get there, because He's the one that's going to be leading you. But if you come across something that's hard for you, keep reading. Keep reading. Keep reading. That should be the mantra of this whole group. Keep reading. Keep reading. Okay, let me see where everybody is here. Oh, Elisa woke up. How are you doing? Elisa's a really good friend of mine, of course. Y'all probably see we're doing a series together on YouTube too. And she's decided that she's going to get up an hour early. And so we love Elisa. She's doing good. Oh, absolutely. Matt Adams says faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Yes, Darcy, one day it will all make sense. We just have to trust that He's faithful. Today, y'all, seriously, I'm seeing y'all. We're all riding high. We're like, yay, we're going to serve Father. We're reading the Word. This makes so much sense. We love the truth. We love seeing. What? This was going to happen. What? Wait a minute. Okay, now I'm not going to go with it. So hang in there, y'all. Okay? Embrace the weirdness. Darcy, that's funny. Maybe that needs to be a t-shirt. Maria says, I am pleasantly peculiar. Glory to Yahweh. Yes, Peg, I'm all about embracing weirdness as long as it's about Him and for Him. Absolutely. Thank you, Melissa. Okay. Oh, Cassie, thank you. Y'all are such an encouragement to us. This group is the Father's hand. I wish y'all could go back in time and see every year the Father's hand moves in bigger and bigger ways in the group. Cassie says, Christy, you and your prayer team are amazing. I've never been so in the Word, and I know it's because of all your team's prayers. Yeah, keep reading. Yes. Marcia says, that's the list I want to be on. Let me write down your name. Just a second. I got my book. Oh, I'm moving my camera here. Sorry, y'all. There you go. Okay. Y'all hang in there. I'm going to write this down. Marcia Summerford. I ain't going to show y'all my list, but I got a long list. Okay, we'll be praying. Elisa says, I've been here since you started. Oh, y'all are so precious. Thank you. Debbie, I like that. Keep reading t-shirt idea. I do have a book that says I have a shirt that says book open eyes on Him. Remember, at the end of the day, and I'm glad you brought that up because this is an important point to this message. We have an audience of one. That's it. Who are we serving? Who are we pleasing? Strengthen yourselves in that. Tell yourself that every day. We have an audience of one. And another challenge for you, if you write this today, I'd love for you to share it on your Facebook. Share your resolve, but I want you to remember this date because you made this decision. Stick with it, okay? Be faithful to Him. He will always be faithful to us. And you're going to see in the Word over and over His people not being faithful to Him, and yet He remains faithful. Linda Blood. Here, let me put your... now I'm going to start... I take too long to write, so I'm going to start screenshotting the names so I can add them to my list. Linda, I got you on there, babe. Yes. Oh, wonderful. Donna says, so glad I found this group. Being a single lady, it's so great to have brothers and sisters that I know are there for me, praying for me, and we can encourage each other in the Word, and we love the same Father. Amen. That's wonderful. Yes, Tawny says yes, and start at the beginning. Y'all, the Bible begins in Genesis, and so should we. So I usually don't like to tell that to this group because we're reading through together, but if you're listening to this later on YouTube or something and you decide you want to go start the Bible study on your own, you visit seekingscripture.com. It begins in Genesis. It begins in Genesis. It begins in Genesis. And I say that because most of my life, whenever I wanted to read the word, I'd have people say, oh, just start in Matthew. Oh, just read John. Or my favorite, just read Galatians. And why would I want to ignore all the Father's word? Why would I want to skip ahead? Why would I want to skip? I mean, it doesn't make sense. So, yeah. Anyway. Oh, Anna says, God keeps waking me up at the perfect time, 4 a.m. too. Oh, I'm so glad. Well, it feels crazy because I'm pumped for the first time to read the Bible. Yay! Thank you. I know this is so exciting, and I love reading how excited y'all are. It gets me even more excited. It keeps us so motivated. Y'all have just been a great encouragement, and you just got the admin team so pumped up this year. So thank you so much. The admin team is always so grateful to be able to serve, but it is exciting. The excitement is contagious, I will tell you. Um, Oh, Kathy, I will definitely pray for your nephew. Definitely. Please put that on the prayer thread as well. You can find the prayer thread when you go to the group up at the top. It says featured. If you click on that or announcements, depending on what version of Facebook you're on, and you'll find the prayer thread. It's always pinned there. The prayer thread is open 24/7. We do not close comments on that. Um, yes, we have a group that's very faithful to pray. Okay, I'm going to add you, Lori. Let me take a picture of your name here so I can add you. Okay. Thank you, Cherie. Yes, Barbara, I will add you as well. Um, yes, I'm going through these. Y'all hang in there with me. You are so patient. And by the way, thank you for your kindness to me. Thank you for the grace you show me. I really appreciate it. There's there'll be times where you probably won't like me, and that's okay. Sometimes people read things in the word they don't like, and it's easier to put it on me, and I'm good with that. But just remember that we are of one accord in many things, and we love one another, and that's our foundation. I do appreciate your kindness, though, and I appreciate your grace. And I think we should all be showing grace to each other in this group. I've been really impressed by the loving kindness that everybody's been showing to one another because we are from all different. I mean, I think we got probably every denomination in this group. And so people are walking out their faith differently. And we have to remember that just because there's this line, I want to read this to you because it's so good. And I think it's really important to remember. Let me find it. It's on this prayer I printed out. Ooh, let's see. Hang in there, y'all. Okay. Um, this is from a prayer that I found somebody I really enjoy their writings and stuff. Teach us to honor the dignity of difference, recognizing that one who is not in our image is nonetheless in your image. That's important. And I've seen so much understanding and encouragement in this group. This particular group this year has just been really amazing. It is exciting to see the Father bringing us all together to learn, study, and grow together. And I really appreciate and just value and love that we're from all different walks of the faith, but we're able to come together in peace and love for our Father, and He gives us that love for one another. It's really an amazing thing, and I'm so grateful to be part of this group. Yes, to Lynn, I'm doing it right now. Let's see, to Lynn and Kathy, and I'll go through her later and see who else pray for me too. You got it. I was wanting to add to my list today, so y'all making this easy. Um, y'all hang in there with me while I go through all these. Oh, yes. Oh, Renee. She said, I've been in church for years and it took me the loss of my children to show me my faith was built on shaky ground, but thanks to this group, I found my joy. And I'm rebuilding on solid ground and putting on my armor. Today, 1:14:22, I will truly be a follower even through the storms. Thank you for this group. Wow. Thank you. So I'm going to go through here and add all the names when this is over. See if there's anything I missed. Yes, Phyllis. Now I don't know how to do this, so y'all are gonna have to help one another if you want to. Y'all have to figure this out. Um, I have tried to. It's better for me not to try to give technical help to 25,000 people because everybody has a different device and some people see different things, and so it just never works for me. But Felicia said, "Oh, I'm sorry, not Felicia. Um, well, I just missed the comment. It was Phyllis. She said, I was talking to a first time member the other day and gave her a tip for finding the group easily every morning. Add the group to your home screen. It makes my morning a lot better. That is a good tip. With that in mind, please don't rely on a Facebook notification to remind you to read your Bible every day. It's not Facebook's job to remind us to read our Bible. When you wake up and you find that He's still your God, remember that you're still His child and you need to seek Him. So you go on Facebook and you come directly to this group. Type in Front Porch Fellowship, visit the group. Don't tell me, oh, Facebook hasn't been giving me notifications, so I haven't read anything in the last 2 weeks. It's not Facebook's job to remind us to read our Bible, y'all. And I love you, but this is kind of the tough mama love here, okay? It's not Facebook's job to remind you to read their Bible. Go to the group every morning to get your readings. Um, I will, Tammy. Thank you so much. Yes. Let's see. Oh, y'all are so sweet. Okay. Thank y'all so much. This is going to be a short live. I'm going to cut it short because y'all have had enough of me. Um, Remember at 3 o'clock this afternoon, we'll turn comments off, and that gives you the weekend to kind of dig on your own and stuff and practice what we've been showing you. You know, practice how to dig in, how to research and look into things. Write down your thoughts, write down your questions. These are important things because you need to understand that the Father wants you to know Him. The Father wants you to know Him. People who say, well, we don't know what the Father would do and who knows the ways of... Well, you ain't read the Bible because He's flat out telling us what to expect of Him, what His character is, what He expects of us. It's all in the Word. We're only 2 weeks in, y'all. We're only 2 weeks in. Persevere. At the end of this year, you will have said, you can say, I've read the entire Bible. Persevere. Persevere. If you're having a hard time finding time for the Word, give something up. Give up 15 minutes of sleep in the morning. Give up 15 minutes of sleep in the evening. Give up some TV. There are things we can trim away, okay? We will find a way or we will find an excuse. And if you find you need even more time in the word, if you're tempted to kind of pull back because you don't have the time, my encouragement is to put more time in the Word. Spend even more time in the Word. I have found that I need more time processing the Word than I do reading the Word. You know, I read it and then I process it out with the Father. I ruminate on it. You have to have time to digest. So give yourself even more time in the Word. I know that seems contradictory, but when the world tries to pull us away from the Word, let's cling tighter to it. Okay? All right. Felicia says, give up your phone. I wish I would love to. Darcy says, oh, you're welcome, Darcy. Thank you so much. Thank you, Brother Tom. It's good to see you. Good to see you. Y'all. I'm serious. I'm so excited for all the brothers this year. I am absolutely just relishing the balance that you're bringing to the group. Thank you so much. And oh, Angie, you are precious. All right. I love y'all. I'm going to leave y'all alone now. I got to figure out how to end this thing. And y'all have a great day in the Word. Let us go forward and bring further honor and glory to our King in word and deed with everything we do throughout our day to day. We serve a mighty God. And He is worthy. Okay? I love you. Bye-bye.